Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Okay, so today our topic is nitrogen metabolism. And the first step in nitrogen metabolism is nitrogen cycle. This nitrogen compound, nitrogen element, it is very important element in the life of every organism because this nitrogen it is contained in amino acids, proteins, nucleic acids like DNA and RNA. So this nitrogen is very much essential for the you know uh, life of every organism. Now, this nitrogen cycle, it is a process by which nitrogen is converted between its various chemical forms. Actually, it is a biogeochemical cycle because it is this cycle it originates from air, and then it's this nitrogen it is put into soil, and then in the living organisms, and then back in the soil, and then air. So it is a type of biogeochemical cycle. So this nitrogen cycle it is a transformation, and this transformation can be carried out through both biological by biological as well as physical processes. So here in this slide you will see that there are different forms of nitrogen. There are organic forms of nitrogen which includes ammonia, nitrite, nitrates, nitrous oxide and nitric oxide, and there is only one inorganic nitrogen form, and that is nitrogen gas. This nitrogen gas, as you can see, that it is present in air, and it is very much difficult for plants to absorb or to absorb this nitrogen gas directly from air. So this nitrogen must first be converted into its different forms, because this nitrogen it has got an n triple bond n, and this triple bond is very much difficult for these living organisms like plants to break down. It needs a lot of energy. So here what you see, there are different steps in the nitrogen cycle. The first is nitrogen fixation, second is nitrogen assimilation, third is ammonification, fourth is nitrification, and fifth is denitrification. So the first step is nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation is simply the conversion of free nitrogen of atmosphere into the biologically acceptable form of nitrogenous compounds. As I already told you that this nitrogen which is present in the air, it is actually as nitrogen gas, and this nitrogen gas it is not directly used by plants, so it must be first be fixed. It must first be fixed in different forms. So there are following ways in which this nitrogen gas is converted into its chemical reactive forms. The first process of nitrogen fixation, it is done through biological nitrogen fixation, and second is through physiochemical nitrogen fixation, and third industrial nitrogen fixation. So in biological nitrogen fixation, there are actually living organisms, there are actually bacteria that convert this nitrogen gas into different acceptable usable forms of nitrogen, that means ammonia and nitrates. So there are symbiotic bacteria like rhizobium. It forms root nodules with leguminous plants. This we are going to talk about in detail later on, biological nitrogen fixation. Then there is symbiotic blue-green algae like nostoc, anabina. These are cyanobacteria actually, and there are free living bacteria also, azotobacter, clostridium, and rhodospirilla. So in physiochemical nitrogen fixation, this here what happens actually, this nitrogen gas is directly, it is oxidized actually through the lightning and etc., and it is converted into different forms of nitrogen. The third is here now the third is industrial nitrogen fixation. In industries, how this urea, that is the chemical fertilizers, how are they manufactured? It is actually at temperature of 600 degrees Celsius. Okay, Haber-Bosch process. We will talk about it later. So here we are going to talk about the second step of nitrogen fixation, that is nitrogen assimilation. So in nitrogen assimilation, this inorganic nitrogen in the form of nitrates, nitrites, and ammonia, it is absorbed by green plants. So what happens first? Nitrogen is fixed by nitrogen fixing bacteria, and it is fixed into ammonia and nitrates and nitrites. And in the second step, that is nitrogen assimilation, these nitrites and ammonia and nitrates, they are absorbed by the plants via their roots, and then these organic nitrogen, they are then converted into amino acids and other proteins. So the third step in nitrogen fixation, ammonification. So ammonification simply means the conversion of organic nitrogen, organic compounds of nitrogen into ammonia. So what happens actually, when these living organisms, when they get dead, and their amino acids, their proteins, etc., they are converted into ammonia. So this is known as ammonification. this nitrite is converted into nitrate by nitrobacteria. The fifth step and the last step in nitrogen cycle is known as denitrification. That means it is the reduction of nitrates back into the nitrogen gas. So what happens here? There are certain organisms which are known as denitrifying bacteria. So denitrifying bacteria Theobacillus denitrificanus, Micrococcus denitrificanus, and Pseudomonas aeruginosa. So they convert, what happens? They convert nitrate into nitrite, then nitrite into nitrous oxide, and then nitrous oxide into nitric oxide, and then back into nitrogen gas. So this nitrogen gas is back put into the atmosphere. So this is all about nitrogen cycle. Thank you.